appreciate it. And in about 10 seconds, we'll have a 6 o'clock and we'll get ready to start the meeting.
Fix the little gate tool that works in.
And at 6 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and get our meeting started. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Lisa, if you would start with roll call, please.
Mike Gunner, Gwen Dusa,
Here.
Bill Gritzmaker,
Here.
Sherry Luce,
Here.
Ken Nichols, Eric Rogers,
Here.
Timothy Waters.
Thank you. We could have a recommended motion for the minutes of June the 8th of 2026.
Move to approve the minutes of June 8, 2026 as presented.
I'll support. We have a motion by Bill and a second by Sherry to recommend the motion to approve the minutes of June 8th, 2026 as presented. Does anyone have any discussions or changes? Seeing none, Lisa, please.
Eric,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Gwen.
And moving on to our presentations and communications, Kevin, we can tell that you're here. You are here. We are ready to listen.
Okay. Thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time. I'm going to give you a couple updates. Some things are things that you've asked me about in the past. The first one, you may not all be aware, but Blissfield Manufacturing, that property has sold. So we'll see. I don't know much about the buyer. You guys probably know more than me. Apparently there's some kind of furniture distributor or importer. So hopefully they're a good fit for the community. So that's good. I'm glad to see something productive going on there. Another thing, my last roundtable meeting that we had in Ogden Township, I think we had an attendance of 3. Now that's either a sign that I'm doing a terrible job and nobody wants to see me, or maybe we're communicating well enough that nobody feels like they necessarily have to come 2 or 3 times a year to find out what's going on. I'm going to reduce the frequency and wait until we have something more newsworthy instead of just trying to do it every 3 months. Because frankly, there's a group, and Tim's one of them, and often Eric and Ken, about 6 or 7 people that always come. I really love that. But there's a lot of townships that nobody comes at all, even when you host it in their community sometimes. So anyways, but as always, feel free to reach out to me and I'll keep up with the email updates. Part of the issue has been, it's been quite quiet lately. There's no big controversies going on. I know, right? So, but I do have one really good thing to report. Our former, and this, I'm not saying this is the good part, but the truth is our former community development director, Francine Zisk, has taken a job as the administrator in Ogama County. And in the process of filling that position, we have hired Lisa Hewitt Cruz, who comes to us from the city of Adrian, where she worked for a few months. Prior to that, she spent 30 years at the USDA. In her last position, she was a direct report to the undersecretary. She had employees that reported to her in all 50 states. She's an outstanding person, tremendously capable, and she's aggressively working into all the communities. I met with her this morning at the Coney Island. She's going through every commissioner and meeting in their districts to find out what are the development activities that need to take place, what are the resources you're lacking, how can I help facilitate all that. I see her partnering with Lenawee now, but on the municipal side of things, but yet they'll be working very closely together. So I could not be more excited. I think she has an opportunity to do some really good things for the community. So she will be reaching out to Danielle. I know she's going to want to get on the red line where I can say hello in person. So, and one of the things I love is she's already talking about how do we keep the size of government small. So I think we're going to be pals. The other issue that we've talked about a lot and it's come up here is what's the status of the courthouse project, the $60 to $95 million concept that was floated a few years ago. There is no majority support or administrative support for spending anywhere near that money. Nonetheless, there are structural needs that remain. For instance, we still don't have ADA accessible jury boxes. That's going to become a problem. We worked around it now to facilitate that, but of course, that's an exposure, that's a liability. Of course, we care about that community that needs to be able to fully participate in public affairs. The way the courthouse is laid out, if we bring a prisoner into the courtroom, they come down the same hallway that all the judges' chambers are in, so they all have to be sequestered in their office before we bring them in. Well, that's long term not a good idea. Yes, we've been doing it for a long time. Is it worth $100 million to change just that part? Probably not. This past meeting, we voted to retain a new space consultant to again take a look at our facilities needs, looking at things like electronic records and these kinds of things to reduce our facility requirements. And we understand that there is not an appetite among the community or among the commission to spend $50 million up. We continue, however, to save $1 to $3 million per year, putting into a capital fund earmarked for whatever we're going to do going forward. And so it's our hope that if we can find some incremental solutions and begin to address this as we go forward, we can have minimal or no new bond debt. The scary thing is I think the county would be qualified to bond up to $600 million, which is a number that none of us want, but it's crazy to think you could go get that much money. And I will also say again, and I know this is my same hobby horse I've been on for 4 years, but had we sunk tens of millions of dollars into the facility in Tecumseh, we wouldn't have been able to complete $20 million worth of improvements to Maurice Spears with no new debt. So that was a much better use of capital, and we continue to bring students in from outside the county who then are bringing money into the county. So that's what's going on there. And finally, it's at least of tangential interest to you, but Silverhorn Highway is now in the process of being reconstructed. As you know, the bypass around Blissfield was constructed a number of years ago with all season roads to get around in the event that the bridge closes in Blissfield. But now they're working from that section south to the state line. The road commission is, they don't report to us, but I am their liaison and I get updates on that. So right now they're guessing, and they hate to stick their necks out on this because funding is variable. You never know when you have an emergency need that shifts your funding priorities, but they're hoping no later than fall of 2028 that road will be completed, and I believe it will be brought up to year-round standards. And that makes a lot of sense when you understand 295 ends in Berkey and doesn't take you anywhere. Yet there's obviously a big demand for ag commodities and so forth to be able to safely make it to the ethanol plant. We're still hoping that it'll be open soon. And you know, the elevator and all the other ag-related activity we have taking place there. But I did want to give you that update that that's taking place in Silverhorn. I know the right-of-way stakes have been set. I think they're working on some tree removal things and those kinds of things. So that's what I have. Is there any questions from you guys?
Any updates on ZFS with their pursuit of water?
Yes, I talked to Brian a little while ago. He sends his regards. Not a lot to report. There's they're continuing the testing in the drilling phase of things, and nothing concrete to report. But so far, there's been no bad news. But then you have to wait and make sure the good news is enough good news to make sense for everybody involved. So they are working on it, and of course, they'd be glad to probably give you some more details if you talk to them directly. But absolutely, they're doing everything they can to make that project move forward.
The old Bixby Hospital site. What's going on? Anything going on there?
Well, it's not a county project at all, but as far as I know, ProMedica still owns the underlying property. They paid for the demolition. I know there's an entity involved in doing work on it. I got some updates on some of the funding thing there, but it's, you know, that's primarily City of Adrian and their funds and their development project. I don't know what the status is. I mean, I hear rumors. Some is that some of the grant money they were hoping for got pulled back when the federal government reined in a lot of grants, but I've heard other sides of those stories too. So I guess that's about the most beyond that, I'd be speculating.
Thank you.
And I have a question for you, Kevin, as well. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge about it, but can you tell us a little bit about the flat cameras that have been placed, and how many will be placed, and what their role is, please?
Right now, I think the county has 4 flat cameras. I voted no on it, not that I'm against law enforcement, because I obviously am. There's no proposal that I'm aware of to increase that number. I'm not sure it would pass the commission by the same margin if it passed at all, brought forward again. I know a couple of the issues, whatever you think of the privacy side of the issue, there's a couple of issues that need to be resolved by the state legislature. First of all, the data automatically deletes on a 30-day look back. Well, unfortunately, I think that violates state record retention laws because we have to keep records longer than 30 days. Secondly, that's a public record gathered by public funds to which there's no right of privacy. So as law stands currently today, I think anybody can FOIA that information. So that's another vulnerability I don't like. The other thing is, and you do one Google search on something like Flock and how your feed blows up with every news article in the country on it. There's more and more concerns on this issue. As I think I said in my one update, people on the left who are concerned about ICE and those kinds of things don't like it because that data is being shared with federal immigration officers. Now, again, what ICE is doing, that's not a problem. But there's real concerns about how that data is being shared, and they continue to add more and more features. For instance, when they brought it to us, they said the stick records a license plate number, date, time, and location. But the features keep growing and growing, and now there's a version, or at least some news articles about them also concurrently being able to sniff cell phone data, Bluetooth data, all manner of stuff, which again is publicly harvestable because you're choosing to make it available from your phone, at least to the degree they can do it without hacking your phone. The argument is always, if it saves one life, well, I get that. On the other hand, there is a right to privacy, and China has probably a much lower crime rate than we do, but it's at the expense of facial recognition and video surveillance around the country, using your passport everywhere you go. And if that's something the society wants to trade off, that's a societal choice. I don't think the majority of people in my district are in favor of going further and further and further in that direction. So, and we keep hearing of misuse of it by, employees who are angry with a spouse or looking for a girlfriend or, all this kind of stuff. You do a lot of searching and ultimately they get caught and get in trouble for it. But so there's a lot of privacy concerns there.
Is it something for a certain time limit, or is this going to be the way that it is?
Well, it's up to the county. I think we only signed a 1-year contract, so I'm sure we'll have time for another debate when it comes back forward. But we're still concerned. Now apparently Flock is starting to get into the drone business too, so they can follow us around. And places like Lowe's and so forth have these cameras as well, and that data is made available through law enforcement, et cetera. Some subdivisions put them in. So if you don't have a right to privacy, I can stand out there and write down every license plate number that drives by. When a public entity starts recording that, preserving that, I said to several people, if it's a public record harvested by public money and there's no right to privacy, why don't we have a search bar on the county website so anybody can search a license plate number whenever they want? What's the rationale for not making it available to everybody if there's no right to privacy? And there's no good answer to that, which is why I asked it.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thanks.
About the tunnel that's going in, you don't have any jurisdiction over that.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
I know the southbound lane is cracking right over top where they're digging. You know that?
I got a house near there and I'm there regularly. Yes.
So that's really a concern with the county or the city commissioners.
It is, yeah. And I think the initial budget was 2 million, then ballooned to 6. And my understanding is the latest numbers are closer to 9 million. But that reminds me, I did not add it to my list. I've talked about it in a couple other places. We'll know tomorrow if it's happening or not. But you may remember when I first campaigned, I talked about the hope that we can expand access to freight rail in the county. And so it's a multi-step, multi-year journey, but we have succeeded in having a $5 million fund created in Lansing for historic rail preservation. The Southern Michigan Railroad Society, which actually owns the railroad tracks from Palmyra Township at Lenawee Junction all the way to Clinton. It's not connected to the rail network right now, but they will find out tomorrow if they're going to get a $2.5 million grant to do phase 1, which will start in Tecumseh and come south. They hope to incrementally ultimately get back down to Raisin Center and connect to the Norfolk Southern. 3 years ago, I had meetings with Norfolk Southern, Adrian Blissfield, MDOT, Bacher Chemical, various group of a number of different stakeholders there. And so, we'll see. I was praying that tomorrow phase 1 finally gets started. Tecumseh, which had some issues with the railroad, actually sent a letter of support in for the grant. So, and the reason I went to that is the only reason I thought about doing that. As I said, if we get $6 million for a bicycle tunnel, what can we get for rail infrastructure that will be permanent, durable, measurable, and hopefully have a long-term increase in competition for modes of transportation and access to all businesses? So we'll see.
Anyone else have any questions for Kevin? Thanks, Kevin. Always enlightening.
Quality time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on, we have a proclamation that is recognizing and honoring Barb McHenry for 26 years of service. Barb, looks like you have something maybe in your hand or not. I wasn't quite sure if you had notes or something. I want to double check. Okay, good. Thank you. Well, then I'm going to have the privilege of reading a proclamation for you. Are you ready? Okay, good. Well, we have a proclamation hereby recognizing DDA Main Street Board member Barb McHenry. Whereas Barb McHenry has dedicated more than 26 years of service to the Blissfield Downtown Development Authority Main Street Board, providing steadfast leadership, guidance, and support for the advancement and the vitality of downtown Blissfield. And whereas throughout her tenure on the DDA Main Street Board, Barb has worked diligently to promote economic development, community engagement, historic preservation, and the continued success of Blissfield's downtown district. And whereas Barb's commitment to public service extended beyond her service on the DDA Main Street Board through her previous service as a member of the Blissfield Village Council, where she helped guide important decisions affecting the residents and future of the village. And whereas her dedication, knowledge, and passion for the community have positively impacted countless residents, businesses, organizations, and visitors, helping to strengthen the village of Blissfield and preserve its unique character. And whereas after 26 years of distinguished service on the DDA Main Street Board, Barb McHenry has chosen to retire from her position, leaving a lasting legacy of volunteerism, civic engagement, and community pride. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Blissfield hereby expresses its sincere gratitude and appreciation to Barb McHenry for her many years of exemplary service and dedication to the Village of Blissfield. Be it further resolved that the Village Council recognizes Barb's significant contributions to the DDA Main Street Board, the Village Council, and the community as a whole, and extends its best wishes for health, happiness, and continued success in all future endeavors. Yeah.
But I'm thinking,
Yes, you may.
innovation. I would like to also thank Barb for supplying free kitty cones to the kids that participated in the chocolate truck. You've seen a lot of kids walking around with the ice cream cones and the chocolate truck. Really appreciate your.
Barb, we'd like you to come on up. We're going to come down and we're going to stand with you and then take a photo, please. I'm going to just shake your hand. You're the one that voted me out of council. I think she is. It is very significant. No, you hold this. All yours. And we should come on in a little bit more. Wonderful. Seriously, Barb. Thank you, Barb. You've done a tremendous job. 26 years is a long. Gwen, everybody. And they're no, we're choosing that. She. Here is a gift. You're welcome. Gone now. We're going to move on to the recommended motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
We have a motion by Eric and a second by Bill to move to approve the agenda as presented. Are there any questions or changes? Seeing none, Lisa, if you would take roll, please.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes. Moving on to public comment. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment at this time? Seeing none, we're going to move on to our unfinished business, please. Our first item of the unfinished business is to an award the depot re-roof project. Danielle, I'm going to kind of turn this over to you because I know that we've had the opportunity to talk.
Yes. So I am bringing this item back after a few months. I apologize for the delay. I brought this item to you guys for consideration previously and had two quotes, one from TJ Roofing and one from Norman Home Services to do cedar shake shingles on the roof, which is what is currently on the depot. The bids did come in over our budgeted amount of $22,000. At that time, we had the discussion regarding possibly looking into a composite shingle or any other type of roofing that maybe would be within budget or more affordable that would last us a long time. So I reached back out to both companies that bid previously. I did not reach out to others. I had initially, when I first tried to get quotes, and I wanted to be fair to the two that did provide, so I've only been speaking with them, but TJ Roofing and Norman did provide additional quotes. They did indicate that they have not installed the composite shingles. But TJ Roofing gave us a proposal for asphalt shingles. There's two different pricing, but the higher quality shingle is $17,307. And then Norman gave us a quote for metal roofing. He specifically said that the metal might still look historic in nature. So he gave us that quote at $33,540. They did talk to Jake additionally. He said that he could also do asphalt shingles, but it would be right around that same cost as the metal. But I don't have a separate quote for that. Gwen did call me earlier and had some questions for me about this project. I have in the agenda to recommend the cedar shakes, but I thought Gwen had a really good idea, so I did think it was worth bringing up tonight. And you jump in if I forget something, Gwen. But she just asking some questions earlier and chatting. We do think that it may be beneficial to get the Historical Society's opinion. I would be more than happy to go to one of their meetings and meet with them and share the different options and see what their thoughts are. I do think at the end of the day, it is our decision, it's our budget, but they do provide a service. We want to be good partners with them. We met with them about a year ago, talking about the facility and lease and things like that. I know I had briefly spoke with Connie, who ultimately said she understands that this comes down to money and things like that, but they did like the cedar shakes because it keeps that historical look to the building and kind of keeps it uniform with what we have currently. Am I forgetting
The only thing I
something?
was going to say, I might share is that I am not opposed to the historical look of the depot. I understand the idea behind it. However, obviously with the cost of the $32,000, that's the difference. So when with Danielle and want to get the Historical Society's, thoughts on it, because that was one of the things I think we found a year ago, was that the communication needs to continue. I thought we had a really productive meeting last year, and I would hate for this to come across as we're telling them what to do when we had a really nice discussion. The other thing I thought is perhaps throwing this out to them when discussions had perhaps that we have our budget of the 22,000, and if the cedar shingles are the 33,000, perhaps they could go ahead and fund the other remaining $11,000. I don't know what kind of funding they could do, what kind of fundraiser they could do, but I just thought that would give them the opportunity to have that say. whereas we could, again, work jointly with one another. So that's was part of my discussion with Danielle as well. Knowing that this was on tonight's agenda.
I actually think that's a good idea.
I like to get their input. Excuse me. I like to get their input. But, so, in my mind, steel roofing is more, there's more longevity there than asphalt. And there are products in both asphalt and steel that resemble cedar shakes. So, I don't know if that's what Norman and, they,
So they were the actual cedar shakes.
Were they actual?
Yeah, yes.
but anyway, they have products that resemble cedar shakes. And I don't know if there's what the cost difference or price difference is, but it's something. Well,
Jerry, you said your thoughts that you'd like to.
I think it's important that they have some kind of input, even though we do have the final say for the cost. But if they have an opportunity to say, well, we can come up with money to keep, you know, the theater.
I think it's a good idea. We have our budget. If they want the higher quality, then we'll let them see if they can fit in their budget. Good idea.
Yeah, I think we invite them back and, you know, Daniel wants to go meet with them first
Right.
and then them come back to us like we did with the committee.
I think that's kind of what,
Meeting.
instead of having, Danielle and I talked about where our committee of the whole meetings are coming next month in July. We've got the budget, of course,
Right.
and for the next two after that, we've got a visit to the sewage plant over there, wastewater treatment plant, and the water plant. So it wouldn't be until October, and not knowing that we need to really have a quote sit down meeting.
Right.
Danielle could have that dialogue, and perhaps someone could join her, you know, from the board here, and have that dialogue with the group, the society group, and bring that information back. No, we really don't have any preference for that. We're not going to be able to fundraise. Go with the, you know, what's the asphalt shingle. If that's what they decide as a team, that's great. But we've had that opportunity to have that discussion. So sounds to me, Danielle, and from what I'm hearing from you guys, that we can go ahead and what's the correct terminology I want to use when we put this off?
Postpone.
Postpone. Okay. Thank you. I want to make sure I use the right verbiage.
Yes, please do not table.
Okay, so are you guys comfortable with postponing this?
I am, yes.
Okay, beautiful. Danielle, I know you felt like you were tardy on this. I didn't look at it that way at all. Do you have a time frame that you would be comfortable with for this postponement?
I'm going to reach out to Connie tomorrow and see when you might be able to tell me, Jackie, when's your next meeting?
That's big, but we have, I think tomorrow from 1:30 to 4. We call them work days. We've been
Okay.
organizing stuff and.
Well, I might jump in their work bee tomorrow. Okay, they're having it tomorrow.
I usually post, you know, in fact we are. So I'll call you in the morning and let you know.
Okay. Okay.
And I will what I'm gonna do is just take my folder with all the information and just talk to them about what information I have and answer questions and kind of share with them and get feedback. Obviously, they're always invited to come to council meeting. So I would think I would be able to get it on one of the meetings in July.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be the first one, but I would think by the second one.
No, that time frame sounds pretty good then. Okay, wonderful. Well, then I'm going to go on to some new business, which is the board appointments for the DDA Main Street. Laura had to exit. I think everything there is pretty self-explanatory. Anyone have any questions for the board? I think there's anything that we need to answer, but I could be wrong. If not, I would be looking for a motion, please.
I move to appoint Laura Terry Borden to the term ending June 30, 2028, and Peyton Marks as our junior board member with the term ending June 30th, 2027, and reappoint Heather Nichols for the term ending June 30th of 2030 to the board.
Support.
We have the motion from Sherry and a second from Bill to move to appoint Laura Terry Borden with the term ending June 30th, 2028. Peyton Marks as the junior board member with a term ending 2027, and reappoint Heather Nichols with a term ending on June the 30th of 2030. Are there any discussions or changes? Seeing none, Lisa, please take roll.
Tim,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Bill, Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes. Wonderful, that motion passes. Item number 2, please, regarding the Maple Street lift station pumps. Danielle has a lot of information there, something that we've talked about in the past. Danielle, something that you would like to state at this time?
I tried to put the information within the budget, but this item is currently budgeted this fiscal year. We're within the budget of the 88,000. I would recommend approval of this. We are working with, we would like to put the same pumps that we have. We know that they'll fit, which would be from the 551 MS Mount Pleasant. And then LD Costa has agreed to install those other pumps, for a total cost of the 70,3461.
Anyone have any questions further for that? Seeing none, begin looking for a motion, please.
Move to approve the purchase pumps from 551-MS Mount Pleasant in the amount of $67,745 and installation from LD Dosca in the amount of $5,716 for a total of $73,461.
I'll support.
We have a motion from Bill and a second from Eric to approve the purchase pumps from 551-MS Mount Pleasant in the amount of $67,745 and installation from LD Dosca in the amount of $5,716 for a total of $73,461. Any discussion? Seeing none, Lisa, please.
Sherry,
Yes.
Tim, Eric,
Yes.
Bill, Gwen,
Yeah. Item number 3, please. Looking for the approval of the Westbrook pumps replacement. Again, Danielle, you provided plenty of information, but anything you'd like to share?
I just want to confirm this item is not budgeted. We did have a pump fail at Westbrook. There are 2 pumps at that lift station, so it's operating on 1 right now, which for the most part is fine unless we have a major event or that pump fails, then we no longer have a backup. So we are looking to get that other one replaced so that, again, we get in front of hopefully any issues that we may or could have. I do think that I will do year-end budget amendments, but I think typically we've come in under budget. I don't have any concerns with approving this within this year's budget and maybe just having to move some things around. But I do think that this is critical and needs, so we do move this.
Looking for a motion, please.
I'll move to approve the purchase of the pump and installation from Mitchell Pumping Service in the amount of $10,291.
I'll support.
We have a motion by Sherry and a second by Tim to approve the purchase of the pump and installation from Mitchell Pump and Service in the amount of $10,391. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, go ahead, Lisa, please.
Bill,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yeah.
Gwen,
That motion is. Item number 4, please. The sidewalk replacement project. Again, Danielle has the information provided for us. Anything, Danielle, you'd like to add?
No, most of the information is there. I feel like I would just be repeating it, but if you guys have questions, I'm certainly willing to answer them. I am proposing to go over budget on this again, just to be upfront, which is, I say over budget on this, it's still within our operating budget because we are holding off on some major street projects because of the lead service lines. But again, questions, I will answer them.
Move council to approve the award of 2026 sidewalk replacement program to L. Smith Concrete in the amount of $74,190 for sidewalk and curb replacement.
I'll support.
We have a motion by Tim and a second by Eric to approve the award of the 2026 sidewalk replacement program to Al Smith Concrete in the amount of $74,190 for sidewalk and curb replacement. Any more discussion? Seeing none, Lisa, please.
Sherry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Tim,
Yeah.
Gwen,
Yes. Motion. Item number 5, please. The TLC Community Credit Union Bank and Credit Card Account. Once again, Danielle, anything to add?
I do want to just kind of clarify that this is a little bit of a repeat. I had recently, after we hired Carrie, asked you guys to make a motion to add her to the bank accounts and remove Nora, who was our kind of backup signer after Brandon had left. And when doing that motion and sending it to TLC, they actually canceled Nora's credit card, which she does still need. So I just wanted to we met with Katie. I just thought it would be cleaner to kind of do a fresh motion and just be very clear what our intentions with our bank account were. So again, having Lisa, Carrie, and I is a little repetitive, and then I've listed the credit cards below. I do want to notate there is a couple changes to the credit cards because they do Visa specifically. This is not a TLC rule, has some new regulations where you have to have a name on the card. So we are getting rid of, Bob Behringer previously had a credit card account with the village. Obviously, they're on their own, so we're getting rid of that one. And then Chief had previously had one. He'll go into that kind of, it's under the clerk, but that general fund, and they'll just sign it out as they need it. So that limit, our total overall limit is remaining the same, but the general limit is increasing from 10 to 20 because those accounts are kind of being merged into the one. But again, if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, then I'm looking for a recommendation, please.
Move to approve that Administrator Gross, Clerk Novak, and Treasurer Ritchie are all authorized signers for the village of Blissfield TLC bank accounts. And that the following employees are authorized to have village credit cards with corresponding balance limits. Village Administrator Gross, $5,000 limit. Village Clerk Novak, including cards to be signed out for use by council and or other staff with a $20,000 limit. DPW Supervisor Castle, $5,000 limit. Water Treatment Plant Supervisor Kiefer with $5,000 limit, and DEA Main Street Manager Nichols with a $5,000 limit.
Support.
We have a motion by Eric and a second by Bill, with a motion to approve the Administrator Gross, Clerk Novak, and Treasurer Ritchie are all authorized signers for the Village of Blissfield TLC bank accounts, and that the following employees are authorized to have a Village of Blissfield credit card with corresponding balance limits. Village Administrator Gross, the $5,000 limit. Village Clerk Novak, including cards to be signed out for use by council and or other staff, $20,000 limit. DPW Supervisor Castle, the $5,000 limit. WTP Supervisor Kiefer, $5,000 limit. And the DDA Main Street Manager Nichols, $5,000 limit. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, Lisa, please.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Bill, Eric,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yeah, that motion has passed. Moving on down to the reports. Chief, you are here. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to point out, address?
No.
Thank you. Anybody questions for the chief?
The bicycle and service?
Yeah.
Cool.
Parks and Recreation. You guys, any questions about that? Okay. Water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, and the building and zoning reports. Hearing none, let's go on to the council discussion. Anyone have something that they would like to bring up at this time? Sherry? Tim? Eric? And Doug? Hearing nothing at this time. Public comment? Anyone from the public? Jackie, yes, please.
Jackie Bates. Number one, the flag at Osmar Park was in shreds the other day. I don't know if anyone noticed, but I called Maddie, and within a couple hours, there was a new one up. So I appreciate that. And I know that, how much did you say that costs the village every year? $7,000 to keep a good flag up there?
I know I looked it up, but I don't remember what we spend a year.
Yeah.
But that may be, I know I had looked it up.
Taken care of and greatly appreciated. Now, talking about the ropes at the depot. We have the composite, samples. Do you want those returned? No, okay. Because we didn't do those, and yes, Connie's the president, but we would vote on that. And we've had numerous discussions about it. Based on and initially, you thought the composite might be cheaper. And we said, that's fine, just to keep that look. The roof that's on the depot now was put on there in 1991. So it's lasted up, but it's time. And right now, the Historical Society is trying to raise funds to put at least one, if not three, historical markers in Blissfield. The main one, the first one we want to get done is where the POW train accident was. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Eric there. There were camps, POW camps in Blissfield, not at the same time, one in 44 and one in 45, out by, on Cleveland's farm and, out on Roback, which is behind, well, out in Mount Vernon, in that area back there. But anyways, the train accident happened on Halloween. They got on work early. They were taking them back to the camp. They have a Halloween party. And I think there was 16 people that perished in that, the truck ran into a train and the train ran into a truck. Anyways, the minimum for the smaller one is about $3,200. And that's what we're trying to raise by. We have permission from all the landowners where these would be to put one there. So, we're working on that now. We're just getting started. And as I said, the one at the scene of the accident is our number one priority. It's $250 to apply for one. So it's gonna be a problem. And now to deal with this is gonna have to be a lot of soul searching and, you know. Yeah, I'm a taxpayer. I mean, I appreciate the cost. I do. I absolutely do. But for it to be historic, you know, I think the Cedar Shakes would be like the bullet. And that's what we need to do. But I appreciate the longevity and the cost saving, both ways. It's a tough call. We'll see. But thank you for your time. Oh, and there's a blood drive, an emergency blood drive on July 2nd. Because we just had one last week, but it's an emergency. They're hoping because of the season and the demand and the need for blood. So.
Thank you.
That's coming up before we know. Same day as the farmer's market, by the way. You want to go to the farmer's market? Get one. Whatever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
Motion to adjourn at 6:42 p.m.
I'll support.
Motion by Bill and a second by Eric to adjourn the meeting. Lisa, when you're ready, please.
Sherry,
Yes.
Tim.
Yeah.
Eric,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Gwen.
Yes. The meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.